afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day, folks. Wherever you're at, folks, it's man always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, it's the weekend. Ha! Yeah, it's Friday. And can you believe it? April is just about over. We have a few more days left.
I know. Time flies.
What the hell? It seems like we just started 2025, and now we're just, I would say, a quarter way into it. Once you hit May, that's the fifth month, and it's not that long till summer. I mean, just around the corner. Depending where you're at, folks, if you are not adjusted to the heat, God bless you. But, I'll say best of luck to you. I'm a big man. I can't be out of heat too much. I melt like, you say, people say, hey, he was a ghetto snowman. So
Nice.
folks, we have a lovely lady. She just made her pro debut this month at the Triple O Dynasty. Great show. It's sponsored by, promoted by both the current five-time Miss Olympia champ, Andrea Shaw. That's my girlfriend. And also the 8-time figure Miss Olympia champ, Cindy Gillen. Also the 3-time fitness Olympia champs. Each other. We have the lovely Miss Jenny Liebl. And I had to work on it because I'm from the South, folks. We see words, we say them differently than we see actually spell, But she is a figure pro, made her pro debut, turned pro last year at the 2024 Teen Collegiate and Masters. And she's also a coach and a trainer. And we're gonna hear her story of what got her started in bodybuilding. So, ma'am, thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. So she did an interview with a lady who I follow that is, a while back, Sharaka Hinton and also Nicole Zenobia. And also she was part of the interview along with another lady who I had a pleasure interviewing, that's Marika Jones. So welcome, ma'am, and thank you for your time. So question I'd like to ask you, what got you started this sport, as I call it, muscle and masculinity? Please share.
Absolutely. So I got into bodybuilding 17 years ago. So I've actually done over 30 shows now. And I didn't turn pro until, like you said, a show ago. So it took that long. I got close a couple times, but I didn't know if I wanted to go pro. So I'll get to that part. But I got started because George, actually, like 17 years ago, I lost 60 pounds. I was tired of yo-yo dieting. I was in my mid-20s. I was just over it. So I walked into a gym right before Christmas in 1998, 2008. And I literally put my credit card down and I was like, help me. And it was the best debt I ever went into. It absolutely changed my life. It took about 6 months for me to lose about 60 pounds, just going to the gym 3 days a week and fixing my nutrition. And of course I was drinking. I was in my 20s, whatever. But I got way healthier and I saw a huge change, and it started to get me excited about fitness. And so I ended up getting certified as a personal trainer and starting working as a personal trainer. And it wasn't like till 6 months later, so less than a year into my journey, I remember going to the gym one day and just being bored. I was like, ugh, I have to do the same stuff again, the same machines. But I was like, what? And I saw Alicia Marie. Do you remember Alicia Marie? She was figure way back when in the 2010s. And like when Miro was around and all these, oh my gosh. And Nicole Graham, she was amazing. And I remember seeing her on a magazine cover and I was like, what is this? What is she doing? Right. And I looked to the back of the magazine and I started reading about it and I was like, okay. And back then it was like Google, but it wasn't as good as it is now. But I went online and I started looking it up and where do I do this? Is there something to do in Arizona? And so, which is where I live. And so I found something to do. I literally Googled the pictures and was just like, I think I can make myself look like that. Oh, okay. Like this. Okay. And then I just started training and I did my very first show all by myself. I met my first coach backstage at my first show. He was taking pictures and he shows me some pictures and he says, look at that. And I was like, oh, she's so beautiful. She looks amazing. Who is that? And he goes like, it's you, you idiot. I was like, what? I look like that? And I mean, I didn't look anything like I do now, but it was a great start and I just became obsessed. It's one of those sports where when you start it, you either love it and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do more and I want to get better. Or you're like, no, thank you, not for me. And I was the former. I loved it. And then I've just been competing ever since. I competed with a lot more frequency when I was like newer in the first couple of 5 or 6 years that I was doing it. I used to go to California a lot, but I was doing 6, 7, 8 shows a year. And it's rough on your body. Yeah. So by the end of the year, my body was like, listen, we're about done. So now I'm to the point where I compete once, maybe 2 or 3 times a year max. And I just kind of cycle through it. And it's just been a super blast. I love meeting people in the sport and people like yourself. I've met some great friends along the way. And to me, it's a big challenge. And the challenge doesn't happen when you're on stage. Once you get there, like even a week before the show where I'm at right now, like you don't, like there's nothing left to do, right? Your work is done. So that's my favorite part about it is all the work is done leading up to it. And when you get there, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a process bodybuilding and starting like dealing with your situation, you were overweight. And I can feel you on that because at one point I was almost 500 pounds because I was taking care of my mom for a long time. And this is true story because she was sick. I was taking care of her. And when she passed, I really saw it was time for me to take care of me. Right now, I might have picked up a little weight because I got issues with my knees. I can't move around like I used to, but I try to make some healthy choices. And I've never been a drinker, and that's never been my thing. Never smoked, never drink. But my thing was eating. It's sometimes it's addictive like anything. And with figure, I really hadn't really caught on to it till later on because I was more a fan of women's bodybuilding when it first round about. I grew up on a good part of the 80s and 90s. I watched people like Corey Everson, Rachel McLeish, also Linda Murray, Vicky Gates. Those women were just amazing, and people like Iris Kyle and that.
Yes.
But doing this content, I've really been expanding. Seeing the women in figure now, and as a competitor, since you've been competing for 16 years, has the sport really evolved since then, since you started?
Very much so. Not only in the look that they want on stage, the size, because for reference, I'm 6 feet tall. So you've seen my pictures. You may have seen my pictures next to people. I'm generally speaking, usually the tallest person up there. So I'm 6 feet tall. So the look that they're going for, the amount of muscularity, the leanness that they're looking for, the shape that they're looking for has absolutely changed. Look back at Felicia Romero and some of the people you mentioned, Iris Kyle, who I've met before. She's this big, by the way. Like I have a picture. I was in prep. This was probably 8 or 10 years ago, standing next to her at a house party. Like it was like a ladies' party or something. And I'm bigger than she is. I was like, and that's when I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Because she's muscular, but she's short. Right. So yeah, it's absolutely evolved the way that you go about it, the frequency of shows, the number of shows, the number of people participating. And then, for sure, the number of divisions has like blown up. I feel like every other couple of years they introduce new divisions, which is divisive. I'm sure you've had I know you've had conversations about that before because I've watched a couple on your channel. But like, I mean, it is what it is. I get it. It's a business, but it also gives more people an opportunity or an entry point because not everybody's going to look like a bodybuilder or women's physique or women's bodybuilding or even figure, right? Not everybody has the genetics or the drive to look like that. And one thing people have to remember is we have to walk around looking like this in real life. And we have to be comfortable in our own skin. And so, I mean, they've just opened it up to more people, in my opinion.
I can understand that because we talk about this, it's the new fit model division, excuse me. I mean, I am not a fan of it. I feel like my concern of it is that I feel like it might push out like certain divisions like physique or women's bodybuilding out. But I understand that it's a business standpoint. You want to be more inclusive. There's opportunity for anybody who wants to get a starting point. Bikini was supposed to be that, but if you look at bikini now, they look like the figure girls back in the day.
Yes, they do. I agree with that. And I just think too, so I agree with you. I think it is going to push some people out. It's going to make some people who are like maybe pushing themselves, challenging themselves in a good way to go on to women's physique or move into women's bodybuilding because they're pushing so hard that they're, oh, hey, I am growing, right? But I think then some people might back off and go down into some of the smaller divisions, like where you don't have to be as big or as muscular or as lean even. And I also think though, it's going to push people out, George, for this reason. The fact that these shows end up being ridiculously long. When you have so many divisions, and then if you have age groups in there too, so you have all your height classes, and then you have the age groups with all the height classes, and that's just for one division. One division at a show that I did a couple years ago, we were there till like 2 a.m. because one division to get through all the height classes and then all the age groups took like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like it gets to the point where it's prohibitive because nobody wants to do that. If you've ever been at a show, like either as a spectator or as a competitor, that's that long, like it makes you want to die by 1,000 cuts. It is rough. And I feel like that pushes people out because it's not a great experience.
Yeah, I interviewed a couple of ladies who earned their pro cards at the Universe. And a friend of mine, she was there because she was supporting her friend who's going to try to get a pro card wins physique. These two ladies earned the pro card in bikini. They said there was like 600 bikini girls at the Universe that year. And I asked them, both of them, how did you get your pro card with that so many girls? So they would say it was just, I would say, the luck of the draw. I mean, they're both lovely ladies. They're really good. But it's just, I know it's about business, this and that. But again, you're going to have divisions that end up looking like the division you're supposed to replace.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now that like you said again, it's been about 3 weeks since your pro debut.
Mm-hmm.
What's that feeling like? Now you've been on the big stage with the big dogs.
It was an experience. It was cool. I felt like we got treated different for sure. Like our schedule was prioritized, which was nice. So we didn't have to be there all day. But it felt good. It helped me realize that I do belong here. Because I was nervous about that. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing all these people I've seen on Instagram and never met before, but I've kind of idolized and followed for a long time. And because I'm in the 40 and up class, right? It's women who have been doing this for a very long time. And it feels good knowing that I belong here, that I'm on the right track. And then these last 3 weeks, I've really just honed in what I already had. I had a new starting point and just really focused on getting up there again on the May 2nd for Emerald Cup and just doing it again. All I can do is bring my best, and either they love it or they don't, right? And it's what they want or they don't. So again, it's me versus me. I know that I've made improvements, but yeah, it's kind of cool to be on a different level with other people.
Yeah, and that's in the Emerald Cups. That's in Washington State. It's showed that I think it's mostly masters. They don't do too much of the open.
Correct.
So it is possibly opportunity for, I don't know, for this year's Masters Olympia or for 2027.
No, you can still qualify for this year's.
Okay, because I know some shows, I think they have because the Masters Olympia is coming up around about the end of August. And then I think they might stop right there around August for any qualifications or the end of July.
So they moved it. It was the second weekend in August in Tokyo. Now it's the first weekend in August in Tokyo. But the qualifications, according to their website, which I checked the other day, you can still qualify for it up till like the 3rd of August, so like the week before. Which, if you're going to travel to Tokyo, that's an expensive venture / a lot of planning. So I don't know why you would wait till that late to qualify. But apparently there's still Masters qualifying shows. You have to qualify in the 40 and up division for whatever your category is up until then. So
yeah, because I know a couple ladies who just got the qualifications. One got a qualification. She already had a qualification at Triple O. That is Salika Gavin. You got to correct that. And she's already qualified because she earned hers at the Atlanta Pro. A lady who is a friend of mine, Gabby Vega, she earned hers at the also at that show. She earned it in 2024 last year. I know a young lady who I interviewed a while back. Her name is Lisa Sege. She competed at the show. It was a debut. She was trying to qualify, but I think the show she did, she was in 35 and over. And because of that, she couldn't qualify. But I know Lisa has moved on. She's now focused on other stuff outside the bodybuilding because he lives in Australia. That was a long way, and to come, she did 2 shows in the States. So as a competitor, what do you really like about the sport of bodybuilding?
I think my favorite part, like I mentioned, is the training and the pushing yourself. The fact that you have to lock in, you have to figure out what you're doing and what you need to change. And with or without a coach, with or without assistance, you just have to get to it. And there's nobody else. Like, you don't see the people that are going to be on stage with you, right? It's not a sport where, I know the people that are on that other basketball team. I know what to expect from that point guard, etc. But it's very different from any other sport where you don't know what to expect. So all you can do is understand the criteria for your division and work for that impossible physique is the way I like to think about it. And so better your best, whatever your best was, see if you can do better, improve the things that you need to improve, and then just show up and do your beauty queen thing.
Like, I think people who see bodybuilding see like more of a pageant than anything, because not a lot of people know a lot about it. Like, it's not very mainstream like it used to be.
Yeah.
I used to catch it on ESPN or network television, but only thing I can really watch is on, like, I'm on YouTube, like get like YouTube, um, announcements on my timeline, or if I watch the pay-per-view. I did watch pay-per-view for the Triple O because I want to support it. We have here my man Ryan Lake coming through. Ryan, he says, hello, Ryan. Appreciate you, brother, coming through.
Hello.
And yeah, this is a tough sport. There's a lot involved in it. The training, the dieting. A lot of people don't understand. It's not as easy. Like, here's the mindset of the most everyday Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Mary, and Jane. They look at bodybuilding like this. It's like, I just take steroids and I just get big and huge and rah. But no, it's more to that. It's the diet, the consistency, the training. The coaches are good. Like you mentioned, who's your coach and how long y'all been together?
Dev Martin is my coach, the IFBB. She's wellness pro out of New York, and I've been with her for over 2 years now.
Wellness coach. Well, okay. That's the issue division. I mean, it's been around.
She went pro and figure, though, so in my defense.
Yeah, I know quite a few ladies who have. I think you see a lot of ladies now, as you know, who switched over because when wellness came in, I think it gave opportunities for certain women. Like we say, like this, wellness is about those women who have those strong, I would say, Afro aesthetics, bigger in the hips, thicker in the waist. They're a lot larger. I think it kind of fits a combination of two things. Bikini top with a bodybuilder's bottom. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, folks, before we get Jenny here, we're gonna do this. We jump into social media for a little bit. You want to follow her. Her links are in the description of this live. Guys, I tell us, guys, and no offense to her and to anybody, guys, be respectful. No weird shit. Come on, stop it. I know you see these plump, muscular women that get you excited because sometimes these games, guys, it's not about y'all ladies. It's make them so particular. I'm sorry about Henny pops in. So, folks, if you want to check out her and follow her on social media, her links are in the description. Reach out with genuine interest and also support. So we're going to jump in here for a bit. And here she is. Right here is this is when you got 2 pro cards. What?
I did. Yeah, I won 35 and up overall and 40 and up overall. So I won the classes and the overall for both.
Yeah. So what was that feeling like, when they told you after all these years, 16 years of competing, doing these shows, now you're IFBB pro?
It was so cool because I have never won an overall. I've gotten close. I've won divisions before or classes, but I've never won an overall. So to do that and to get my pro card twice, I thought it was awesome. It was super cool. It was a great feeling. Never forget it.
Yeah, and she's training, and like I said, you're tall, like 6 feet tall. I think figure kind of fit for the taller women compared to like women's physique or women's bodybuilding. I think that's why we look at some of the women who are like maybe short, like Andrea or Iris, because it's more compact. The muscle, doesn't have a lot more room to travel compared to her taller competitor. I've interviewed ladies who've been 6 feet tall, 5'9", 5'10". Is it a lot harder to put on muscle compared to those, women who are like 5'5", 5'4"?
I don't know that I'd say it's harder to put on muscle, but it looks different on us. Us gaining, if you're taller, you gaining 4 or 5 pounds, like in your whole body, or a couple pounds in your legs, it looks different because our muscle bellies are so much longer. So to have the same width of a quad sweep, for example, I have to put on 2 or 3 times as much muscle in that area to have the same appearance. So it's just, we're longer. Our levers are longer, so it's just different.
Yeah, here you are with the 8-time champion, Cindy Gillen. And who's the young lady right beside you?
That's Sha. She's awesome. Her handle is, I checked her there too, training with Sha. She's awesome. It's one of those people that I recognized from Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, is that Sha? Oh my gosh. Oh, I was absolutely fangirling at that show. It was so much fun.
Yes, and here is a video from the Triple O right here. It's done by, I think it's a little video put together. That's your trainer right there in the bottom right. She's doing
that's actually Sharonica. That's my posing coach.
Oh, Sharonika's your posing coach. Oh,
yeah. So I've actually never done posing until my pro debut, and I always fought it doing it virtually like this because I was like, no, I want to do it in person. So I was it, but oh my God, game changer. And Sharonika is phenomenal. So her tag is right there on the screen, guys. The _profit_posing. She's amazing. Absolutely worth it. I still have 2 more sessions with her before I get on stage in a week.
Yeah, I know. I interviewed one of her clients. Cameron Bell, and quite a few ladies know her. I mean, she's top in the world, number three. You know, I think I do the debate where I think her physique fits the criteria for women's physique compared to the current champion Sarah Gillis, but you know how it is. And here's this gentleman. Who is this handsome gentleman beside you?
That is my husband, Farron. We got married
Uh,
2 years ago on April 15th. Yes, it's tax day.
I remember when I had a job and get my taxes out. I used to love that, but yeah. And how long y'all two been together?
We've been together for 7 years now, married for 2.
He ever thought about competing himself, or he just say like to be fit?
Absolutely not. He absolutely exercises. He's super fit. Like he's really, really strong. But yeah, he's just a big guy. He's 6'4", 6'5", 260. Like he likes to just exercise. He has no desire to compete. And I think 2 of us in the same household competing, that'd be a lot.
Yeah, I know. I've known and interviewed quite a few couples who it's hard because you know what, you go into prep and you get hangry and hungry, and
Yes.
then you have kids in the house, and when you say who's eating that, who's that, it takes a lot. Here she is on the stage, you look really good. What was that feeling like? Why did you decide to make your pro debut? Most competitors say, I'll take a year off. I want to grow and put on the side before I jump on the stage.
For me, I like to stay with it. If I give myself too long between competitions, so a year or more for me, that's a literal lifetime, right? That's a literal lifetime. And it's too long for me to be away from the stage. I need focus when I'm training. So I need to be working towards something. And also I wanted to see where I stood, literally. Like I wanted to get up there, see what my physique looks like compared to the people that I was standing on stage next to. And then that gives you something to start working on versus aimlessly trying to figure it out and then give it 2 years and then you step up there and it's a completely different look, right? I feel like it's a sport that if you want to stay in it, you got to stay in it. So you got to stay at least relatively active in it to make sure that you're progressing and staying with it. Because it, like you said earlier, it ebbs and flows, it changes a little bit and you can change with it. You just got to know where you're at.
Here she is with Mama. That's your mama.
Yes, that's my mommy, my ride or die. She's been with me since my very first show. So she's been with me for a very long time.
Yeah, my mama was my ride or die. We used to be riding parties. We go to yard sales together. And when she got sick, that was my job. She was my woman. So, I'd take care of my woman. She needed me. And, I think I needed her too, because, what, everybody else had their lives and kids. And I was the only one other than my other sister who didn't have kids responsibilities. And we lived together for a long time. And you were in the top 5 in the over 40. I know Elvira, everyone get the name right. She won it. Mm-hmm. And and she's from my home state, North Carolina. It's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, it's just that feeling. What was the critique from the judges?
More density, like just fuller. They liked my conditioning, but just I know, and I look at the pictures. I just need fuller caps on my shoulders, which has always been my weak point. I'm working on it. They're getting there, and then continue to grow my quad sweeps. Right. So it's all relative to what's next to you. So look at the quad sweeps on the girl in the green on the left, not Vera. But look at her quad sweeps on the outside compared to mine. Like my legs are so long, they're much longer. My femur is longer than hers. So it looks different. If I had a shorter femur, I'd have chunkier quads all day long. I've always had legs, but they're, and then, just fill it out, just getting denser.
Yeah. And also, you're also a coach and a trainer. And how long have you been doing that?
Yes. So I've been doing that since I started competing. So about 17 years I have been training. I still actively train. I have private clients. I had people this morning that I see in person. I have clients online. I own and operate a youth sports performance company. And then I actually work in education for the ISSA, which is what we're looking at right now. I've been here for 5 years and I actually write their course materials and teach it. And then I run their webinars. I co-host our podcast, or host by myself now. But I am a content expert here at ISSA as well. So I get super, super deep into the information and I absolutely love the science behind fitness.
And also I see you like to play a little volleyball. We were talking about that earlier. What other sports were you playing when you were younger, if you were still playing in the day?
I played soccer like when I was little, like 1st and 2nd grade. But after that, it was like I just kind of did nothing. And then I played volleyball starting in high school. And I've played volleyball ever since. And this is my first year playing with a 40 and up team. I love being over 40 now. It's great. So I get to play with a 40 and up team, which is phenomenal. I'll be playing with them at the end of May in Denver. This team right here is my VLA, Volleyball League of America. Check it out, guys. Volleyball League of America on YouTube. A great program that they're running. It's men's side and women's side. That's Tess Clark. And we travel all over the country. They're about to, actually, when I'm competing, they're going to be traveling to Chicago for a tournament. But playing pro volleyball is super, super fun. And the fact that at 40, almost 41 years old, I'm out there absolutely bawling with 25, 26, 27-year-olds. I feel like I'm doing it right. Like, I've kept my body in good shape. I have no aches and pains, knock on wood, no chronic issues, no bone breaks, no none of that. And I can get out there and just play, recover, and go. And I love it.
Me, I'm a broken old man. I'm 50 now. I got 2 bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin's, problem with my shoulder here. I had a pacemaker because I had a heart attack about 10 years ago. I'm doing pretty fine well, but I worked a lot. I had a couple of jobs here and there. I didn't take care of myself like I should have. Now I try to take care of myself. It's not too late, because I've interviewed ladies who are in their late 50s and 40s, and they find out, bodybuilding is not the fountain of youth, but it especially it can halt the aging process, because you stay in shape, you work out, you train. It's a lot of work. So, and instead, I played when I was younger. I played football. I played a man's game. So, but yeah, I mean, everybody who gets in the sport find their path. Like you being an athlete and doing what you're doing now, working with young people, and that's good, because young people need that education about health and fitness.
Yeah. Working with kids has been really, really rewarding. This is my 12th year coaching between high school, and I coach at a private school here in Arizona for high school, and then club, and then running sports performance for these clubs. And that to me is really important, because keeping them healthy, keeping them injury free, helping them understand how to control their body, and so that they can play their sport and do things longer, and also see that there's other things outside of their sport, right? There's other sports that they can pursue. I think working with the kids is one of my favorite things. Every year is different. Every group of kids is different, even if there's a mix of the same kids that I've seen before. But kids, anybody with kids, kids are like a whole nother animal. And I've done a lot of learning about the developmental stages and the little things that their brains go through. And I have to remind myself that this is just a baby. Don't yell at them.
No, my mom didn't work like that. My mom had to raise us 6 kids plus 2 grandkids. Nah. You gotta, sometimes, especially when you get teenagers, you gotta beat them down. Every now you gotta, let them know who's the boss, because they wanna pull up and say, you know what, hell, that's what you need to learn. I mean, not be abusive, but at least just put them in line.
Don't beat the baby.
Yeah, I don't beat the babies, but when they get old enough, it's time to get their beatings. It's time to get your whoopings. I got it. So why I had to be kind to you? So. Yeah, but like I said, there's a lot of this to understanding bodybuilding. The work ethic, the tires. We figure, like I said again, it's been around for a good bit. Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't really onto it as much, but being a content maker, I want to expand more. I recently just interviewed one of your ladies who's competed show, Kendra Rich, and she also made a debut. Nice young lady, and I think she has a potential. And really, like I said again, the sport has evolved over the years. The time and how development of the athletes, as we talk about how the girls are getting bigger. As Sid retired her crown. Yeah. What's your thoughts now that there's an opening spot for the Miss Olympias? Jessica Reyes-Padilla, who's number 2. You got Lola Montez, and then we have Missy Trescott coming in from around the corner.
Yes. So Missy, don't get me wrong, she looks great, but I think for figure, there's some things going on, and this is not a dig at her. It's just, I don't know, maybe I just need to see her on stage with other people. And I used to be a judge too, so that's where my brain is going. Not as I'm seeing her as competition, as a judge, my judging eye. There's something about the gap between her legs, her adductors. It's a little wide versus Jessica and Lola. They have some adductors that there is no gap there, and they just have full, big, round thighs. So there's something structurally that's different for her. So I don't know. I'd have to see them on stage, but I think Lola's got it. Lola is my pick. I love that girl. Her swagger, her attitude. This chick is bad. But she's so young, and to be so solid and so young and so well-rounded, I have my eye on her. She's the one that I would go after for sure.
Well, what I know about her, I would say yes, but then there's some situations that might halt her from that, because the Olympia has an image to protect. And that's why, particularly one lady who I'm a fan of is Angela Yo. She looked pretty good, but Andrea is tough to beat. Even if you bring in condition, it's tough to beat Andrea. You've seen her a little up close and personal. And yeah, it's a debate that I have this picture here. I'm gonna pull it up here. Like if you look at Missy and compare it to the current Miss Olympia champ, um, Sarah Vilgas. Some say she might be more close to the physique than to figure. And as a physics competitor, she has to really put on. She needs, certain muscles to move around. Especially you got to do that jumping around and that's moving, flipping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that based on the picture you just showed. Absolutely. And if it was a static side by side comparison like that, yeah, Missy's shoulders look great there, and she's definitely full, and her quads look great. I think you're right. I think she does have, at her height, and if she comes in super lean, like we know she can, I think she could absolutely have a fighting chance in physique if that's the way she decided to go. So yeah, it's funny. Wait, can we circle back to the image thing? Because I know you like to debate stuff, and I agree. And it's not anything against like the IFBB or the NPC, but the image to uphold, right? The personalities that these people have. Like I think back to Dana Lynn Bailey. Do you remember her? And like the way she carried herself and the fact that people thought that she was beat the year that she won the Olympia, but she also had more followers and she had like her business, her clothing brand and all this other stuff. So there is a little bit of politics that go into it, right? And it's who knows you, who has seen you. And so you asked why I started to make my pro debut a little bit earlier. Another reason is to be seen sooner. Because if they remember you, if they recognize you, let's be real, we're humans, right? Our eyes are drawn to things that we recognize. So if you recognize somebody from online, or this person has a really big following, or you've seen them a million times, your eyes will be drawn to them automatically. It doesn't mean they're going to pick you, but it is what it is, right? It's human nature. So
yeah, like I think Jessica, she did like I think 4 or 5 shows that year because she said the same thing. She wanted to be in front of the judges. Lola, she did a couple of shows, but I think she really wanted to focus on Olympia. But I understand that. I understand you want to get recognized. I think it should be about your hard work or your shape, but we all know there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of people who will see if you're more social media adaptable. I know some amazing ladies who have great potential, but they just need to put themselves out there more. We got here my man, the underrated doctor, my brother. He says, salute to you and Jenny and chat. Appreciate it, brother. Also, my man here, KL the Wanderer. What's up? What's up, brother? He also does content on women in bodybuilding. He's more a fan of women muscle than he is about the bodybuilding sport, but he's learning. I support him. And yeah, I talk about this, how bodybuilding is not as worldwide compared to other sports. And you play soccer, that's a very popular sport. It's even getting pick up momentum here in the States. Volleyball, is very popular.
it's huge.
It's just bodybuilding is a sport. It seems an outside sport. We go back again, how they look at it because of the whole thing of steroids. Yeah. But I say this again, steroids is only a small factor to it. If you don't follow a diet, you don't work out and train. Kendall is, she's natural competitor. And even with her being a natural competitor, you still get comments where you get too muscular, you get too built, you're on something. No, she's clean. But the fact is, it's just so easy to demonize because of, what happened in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And it's sad because regardless whether somebody is taking something or not, it's their choice. It has nothing to do with you, ma'am, sir. So your opinion about it doesn't matter, right? So I hate when people do that. But also to your point, people automatically assume that you look a certain way and, oh my gosh, what are you taking is their first question. Not what are you training for? How long have you been doing this? Because I've had people say that to me, like, oh, what are you taking? What supplements do you take? Thanks for reducing, and I literally say this, thank you for reducing my 17 years of hard work to what am I taking? Thank you for that. And then I walk away. Because if you saw my before pictures before I started competing, I didn't look anything like this. This is literally a progression. I can show you 30 shows worth of progression to get to this point. It's not I took a drug and then all of a sudden I woke up like this. Because you're absolutely right. You still have to work. You still have to diet. You still have to do your cardio. You still have to put in the effort. You still have to sleep and stay hydrated. It's not a magic pill, because if it was, we'd all look like this or the way we want to look, right? But yeah, bodybuilding is, I think, underrated. I feel for those women that do bodybuilding and even physique. I tried physique for a while, but for me at my height to be competitive, I'd have to be massive. I'd have to be like 250 pounds off season, and that's not something I'm interested in doing, like work-wise and just feeling comfortable in my own skin, if I'm being honest. But it's funny to me, like I remember competing in Washington, right? I went and competed in Washington State at Tangi Johnson. Do you remember Tangi Johnson? She did fitness way back. Oh yeah, I've been in this for a long time. Tangi Johnson had a show, and I went so my dad could see me compete, because at the time before he passed, he was wheelchair bound and he couldn't travel. So I went and I competed. I won the class. I did not win the overall. My dad thinks it was because of politics, because I wasn't from there. But people were saying, he said in the stands when he was out there, they didn't know who he was. They were like, "Oh, that girl's so big. She's huge. She's huge." And then I walked off stage and came down and said hi to him. And I could hear people whispering, "Oh, she's not that big. She's not that big." When you see me in person, I'm fit, but I'm not that big. None of us are. Like most of us are not as big as you think. We just look a certain way because we're lean, right? But yeah, people automatically assume that you're taking stuff or whatever. Like they can make whatever assumptions they want, because if you're too, in my opinion, dumb to ask, like that sounds like a you problem. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the problem with people. People go by assumptions. And they don't really just, why I talk about this, how educate yourself about it. Understand what's involved with it. It's a process. And we understand the process, then it takes time. And then you trust the process. And when you trust it enough, then everything goes the way you want it to go. You follow the diet, the workout, the plan. It's just, there's so much involved in it. And shout out to your dad, because as a father, I never didn't have much of a relationship with my dad, but it was good that he stood by you going through that. My mom was wheelchair bound too, so I had to push her around. But you know what? It's good that he wants to see this little girl do the best in her life and what she chose to do. And also, again, with bodybuilding, not just exclusively the physique and your bodybuilding, also it's inclusive to all the divisions. Even excuse me again, But there's divisions that, if like when somebody say like female bodybuilding, you're not talking about like just women's bodybuilding. There's physique. There's figure, there's fitness, there's bikini, there's wellness, there's hot point, but all of it is all female bodybuilding, just there's different divisions.
But unfortunately, though, I feel like when you say bodybuilding, right, the average person who doesn't know anything, to your point, is like, oh, bodybuilding, because that's what they think. They think of that one top division. And I'm like, but yeah, and then you have to stand there and explain it to people. And I'm also like, I don't feel like explaining this to you. You should Google it. You should Google it and come back when you have some more information.
Or I have to say, or read it is fundamental. So you're teaching, that. This is my man, shout out to my man KL, who says she should do the 2 snaps when they ask you, what are you taking? And also, he says this is, would you do outside of bodybuilding? She mentioned, she has no interest in doing it because, it's hard to put on that muscle, that size, especially when you're tall. I think this is amazing. Like, is there anybody in the sport that you really are a fan of, that you currently now, that you're just, you're a fan of, your mind, or you respect your commitment to the sport?
Definitely Lola. There's a lot of people that are in the sport, and it's hard because we're at a weird juncture in 2025. There's a lot of people leaving the sport or retiring, and then there's a new wave of people coming in. So there's space for people. But a lot of my favorites, if I'm being honest, are people that are kind of no longer in it anymore. Like Dana Lynn Bailey, Tycee Coppett. I remember competing with her and being like, I literally said to her, I will gladly take second place to you, ma'am. Nicole Wilkins. Like a lot of the old school athletes are some of my favorites. But Britt from, what is her last name? She competed with me at Triple O. She's really tall, and I think that's one reason why I really like her.
Offers from Canada. Brittany Offers.
Yes. Oh, yeah. She is so sweet too, so humble, so sweet. She's one of my favorites. So I don't know if I have any like super fangirl moments with anybody that's current. A lot of my favorites are going to be some of the old school ladies.
I'm not old school, like people like again like Corey Everson, Linda Murray, Vicky Gates, Iris Kyle. One lady I got the pleasure of meeting was about a few years ago when I went to my first bodybuilding show was Alina Popa. Beautiful physique. I feel like she should have been Miss Olympia a couple of times, and another lady I remember, Amy Rivicchio, she runs Muscle Angels, amazingly. But one lady who and I said earlier, she's my girlfriend, and that is Andrea Shaw.
She's awesome.
I just can't help it. I know I sound like Andre, I want to tell her I'm not stalkerish. I'm just a fan, But I think she's just beautiful. She brings a certain look to it. I think she's truthfully. I would honestly say she saved women's bodybuilding when she came into it because it needed someone like after the Irish was gone and some of the other ladies like I just saw recently. I heard recently that Michaela Aycock has retired. Amazing young lady. I think it's good for her. Maybe you might see her come back because she's still young. But it was just amazing women in the sport. Like a friend of mine, and I always want to throw this out because the quote by the guy, if you get something, never do it free. And this is, I always call this my payment. A friend of mine named Eunice. She runs her own company, Bad Rap. She was at the Olympia 2023. She got me this issue of Muscle Development.
Nice.
And I love to tote this out because KL might be hating. I know you're hating KL because you know what? I'm that damn good, not the game. And she took time out and she signed it for me.
Oh, nice.
I always want to show this off because I want to show people of what it takes to be somebody like myself who's not even a bodybuilder, who does content, who try to support y'all ladies. Like I said, I was mostly a fan of women's bodybuilding, mostly. And I've grown into the other divisions. I didn't like physique with came out too much because I call women watered down women's bodybuilding. Didn't much about figure, but I've been expanding myself a little bit. I've interviewed ladies in figure, physique, fitness even. I even interviewed ladies did wellness. Some amateurs in wellness. I'm even reaching out to other divisions. I might even reach out to the other division eventually. But as a person, I want to give the opportunities for y'all ladies to share your story and your path, what got you into the sport.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. Because it's sometimes a path that you walk alone. Because sometimes you're out there just you and yourself and the iron and you're just grinding just like the guys do. And sometimes people don't understand why you do it or why you want to look like that, regardless of which division you're in. But to me, I just like challenging my body. Your body can do anything that you can recover from, and your body can do anything you ask it to do if you feed it, recover, and train appropriately. So to me, it's a challenge and I like it. And I also like the factor that 99.89% of the population in the world will never, ever, ever get up on stage in their underpants. So you just showing up, whether you get dead last or you get first place and win the whole thing, guys, you just showing up is an accomplishment and you should be proud of it. So to people that are interested in getting into the sport, guys and girls, I mean, don't keep putting it off. Set something up and try it. Try it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people. One thing is the sacrifice you have to make. Especially the life, your time. I know you wish you could spend more time with your family. Wish you can do more things. I've talked to ladies told me that you lost friendships because you're not going out and doing what you like to do. Drinking because you don't drink anymore. And going to
these wine fridges are not mine. These are my husband's for sure.
Yeah, wine doesn't hurt you just a little. As long as you just go you're like Stone Cold Steve Austin with a thing of beer. But, like girl said some bitch. But it's a lot of sacrifices. Like I said again, the work you got to do, the consistency, the diet, the discipline. I mean, ladies tell me that sometimes they will have to make a choice between I can go to a family event or I can go train. Also just overall, it can consume your life if you are not aware of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can. And for me, I found that if you just stay organized, then that's useful. Right. And it's different when you're single versus being married. Very different, I've experienced. And when you have kids or family people that you're taking care of or not, if you have a full-time job or you work like night shift or something right. There's a lot of different factors that can be in people's lives about how they go about this and how it can impact those things. But one thing I always remind myself is when I have those days where I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm sacrificing so much. I wish I could go to dinner. Like my husband's dad wanted to go to dinner tonight. And he was like, we can't. Like Jenny can't eat anything right now at the steakhouse. I wish I could, but like we can't go tonight because she's a week out. And like part of me is like, you can go have fun, or I could actually go and just sit there. But then people want to ask you questions about why you're doing that. Why are you sitting here? I just remind myself though, this is voluntary. I signed up for this every day. I choose to put myself through this. Nobody's making me do anything. So if you remind yourself if you have a good solid reason for why you're doing this, or anything, right? Weight loss in general, trying to build muscle, right? Preparing for a marathon. If you have a reason that's internal and means something to you while you're doing something, just remind yourself this is voluntary, because you can do whatever you want, but you're choosing to do this.
Yeah, I know ladies who sometimes if they go out, they might take their own Tupperware because while everybody else is eating steak and baked potato and you eating chicken and rice and quinoa, and it's hard because you know what, as a fat man, food is a passion. It's like
I love food.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the other day I bought, like I said, I have a car in the shop. I'm saying, forget about it. I'm right now saving for a car because my sister gave it to me because she got another car, but it's just I give up on it. But my niece let me borrow her truck. I went do some shopping, do my laundry, and I stopped. One of my, I tell you, Jenny, my one of my weaknesses is Chinese food. There's a Chinese place over there to do buffet. I went over there and just sat there, and ate like a big dog. I mean, it be calling me, man. I'm like, Pookie, you drink chili, man. Be calling me.
You sound like you are like in touch with my soul, because I love a good buffet. Don't get it twisted. I can eat like the best of them, to the point where my husband's like, can we leave now? And I'm like, no, I'm going back. I'm going back for more. But I just don't do it all the time. That's the thing. But yeah, I love, there's a good Chinese food place right across the street. I could throw a rock at it. And when I'm off season, trust me, when we have nothing to eat and I'm like, what are we having for dinner? I'm like, let's get some quick Chinese.
Yeah. Like, tell me, after the triple O, and it was calling you, what was that thing, as my other guy like to say, that thing that make you stranger, make you stronger? What was that thing? Share with me, Jenny. That thing
I think I really wanted a hamburger, but I made the mistake, George, of going to Chili's. My twin brother was like, let's go to Chili's. So I was like, okay. And I went, I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. And then the next day I did go to Raising Cane's, the chicken place, with my nephew. Because I don't hang out with him often. So I was like, hey, let's go get some chicken. And so, I mean, it was okay. But then literally the next day I was back on it because I was like, none of that made me feel awesome. Like it was just too much, too fast. And I was like, I don't feel good.
Yeah. I remember talking to one lady, she ate so much ice cream and cake one day, she had to puke. I mean, you got to think about it. You're eating very clean and healthy. And every now and then, it doesn't hurt you because I know your coach gives you a refeed every now and then to help you out because sometimes it's a struggle. And then those like that, something salty, something sweet, something greasy, it hits your body differently. I remember when I was going on my process, I went to see my cardiologist. I went to my nephew. We were getting ready for Mother's Day. He asked me pick up some stuff so we can, because my sister, his mother, with my older sister, we were going to do something at her house. So I said, okay, I'll do a little shopping. And I was getting hungry. I said, you know what? I'm going to stop at this Chinese place I know. They had a great buffet. I ate it. I didn't eat it all because it just wasn't the same. It tastes good, but just because I was eating better. I'm not trying to be a bodybuilder. I'm not perfect. I know this afternoon I had a hoagie with cheese and peppers and stuff like that. And then for my dinner I had some baked chicken with bacon wrapped around it and some broccoli. But like I said, I'm not perfect, But this is the thing about being a competitor, especially for y'all women. The cost of it. The guys do pay a good amount of money, especially between gear and training and eating. But you ladies, the cost of getting ready for show day, that is the big expense. Because not only you have to look presentable, you have to look very beautiful, attractive. You have to have your hair done, your nails done, your makeup. You got to get the hair. I don't have to worry about that anymore, guys. All they got to do, just got to wear a pair of banana hammocks and board shorts and put on your tan. But ladies, you have to have suits that cost you maybe a car note or your rent or a mortgage. Travel to the shows, and you also doing masters. Meaning that's another charge you have to pay.
Yeah,
it's just. I feel like bodybuilding should be a little bit more lucrative for you competitors.
Yeah, I wish it was. And like Triple O did a great job of that. Those three ladies, the promoters of that show, did an amazing job of bringing in some really big promoters who put some money behind it, some sponsors behind it. And they were able to give away, what was it, $10,000 to first place in open figure and $3,000 to the winner of Masters. So, and that's like unheard of. Usually Masters doesn't get any money, and $10,000 for figure is also unheard of for bodybuilding, or potentially, of course, men's bodybuilding. Of course, that's nothing for them. So it is growing, and there is going to be a little bit more money behind on the women's side. But yeah, it is a very expensive hobby, incredibly expensive hobby. And yeah, suits are very expensive, and you don't want to wear your same suit too many times. As somebody who's very tall and has different dimensions than other people, it's not like I can just go to the next competitor and be like, hey, can I borrow your old suit? I have Ellen from Crystallini Bikini. She's amazing. She makes my suits. She has all of my measurements, and they fit like a freaking glove, like that purple one from Triple O. I'm going to wear it again. Beautiful suit. But then to your point, I got to get jewelry to match it. So Sharonica sent me to her lady. And so I have a new jewelry and a new set for that. And then your shoes, and yeah, the makeup is $200, but they do a great job. And of course, tanning and stuff. But yeah, it's a whole situation. It's a lot. And oh yeah, don't forget your nails, and like you said, your hair. I got my show hair on right now, but trust, as soon as I'm done with this show, like literally a week later, I'm putting my locks back in, because I am not a fan of the weave when it gets sweaty. It's not the best in the gym. It looks nice on stage when I do it right. I'm in, it's 4:00 here in Arizona, so this is after a full day. My curls have fallen out, but yeah, I miss my locks. But yeah, getting your nails done and all that kind of stuff, and it is a very, very expensive hobby. So, I mean, but my husband plays golf. That's an expensive hobby.
Well, here's the thing with golf, you can make a living off of, depending if you get into the PGA, or there's Live now. That's very popular. But with bodybuilding, unless you are even the top percent in the Olympia, like guys like Samson Dua, who walks away with nearly like $500,000. Derek Lungford, Icky Arnold, walks away with $500,000. And even though that show doesn't have women's bodybuilding, physique, or figure anymore, I mean, this is my favorite quote: "As honored what required behind women's bodybuilding and physique and figure and staffing in the heart, and opportunities is just, it's great that you have those opportunities. Some ladies, they have to find ways to circumvent to make their money. There's certain things to do, but you know what? You never talk about how some people gotta make their money their way. If it's not your way, cool, fine. But you know what? If this was a sport where there was more opportunities to, sponsorship like that, and anything can help you out, because are you sponsored?
I am not. And the way that it goes, like anymore with sponsorship and the social media presence you have to have, and how many times you have to post, and I'm just not flat out not interested in doing that. It's never been my thing. And so I'm not going to lie to myself and like force it just to make some dollars. Everything else that I do with all my training and my youth stuff, it makes me money. So I'm good. And I mean, I don't endorse a certain brand of supplements. I'm totally that person who buys whatever's cheapest. I'm like, Amazon, what do we need here? It's great, like whatever is the cheapest is what I'm going to buy. So I'm not sponsored. I mean, if one of my suit makers or jewelry people want to sponsor me, that'd be cool. I would do that.
Yeah. But yeah. Hey, shut up. Hey, this is your client. Hey, you put up a few dollars in the pockets. Hey, that helps out, because you know what? That can cover costs of if you do a master show, because you have to pay to compete as masters. Also, your cost of you traveling to the show, pay for gas or rent a car or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I think there's at least within the areas of more opportunities for shows. Like, as you know, if coming up May is the Legion show, that's in Reno, but they dropped figure, because I interviewed a lady who told me that, and it dropped women's physique. I interviewed the last lady who earned a pro Olympic qualification at the Legions, and a friend of mine, he competed there. Making his return after taking a hiatus from bodybuilding. He's a great guy. My big brother, Mr. Big Keith, we sometimes come out here, we do our podcast together. And like I said, again, as a fan, and for y'all ladies, I wish there was more opportunities for y'all. We all know, yes, it's a popularity contest and be on social media. I mean, my friend Eunice was the one who sponsored the jackets for both the winners for the winners in the show, because she really want to see opportunities for women in bodybuilding. Just in general, she's a great person.
I'd be curious to know what the decision is behind removing it from shows, whether it's women's physique, bodybuilding, or figure, because it seems to be, getting dropped from more and more shows. So I'd be curious to find out more about why they're doing that. It's not that there weren't people showing up for it, because there were. Like, we're all just as surprised. So
what I remember is, was it earlier, like a few months ago, they dropped women's bodybuilding from the Tampa Bay Pro. And that was there for a long time. Tim Gardner's promoted because they couldn't have a sponsor division. But a guy who I'm a fan of, and I got to do this, guys. You guys, I got to do it. I got to do it. Yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun, Mr. Jake Wood, the guy who runs Wings of Strength, and also he owns the Olympia. He and Lena Popa stepped up and put the sanction fees for women's bodybuilding. It's just they can't use the excuse that no one's going to see the competitions. But I think the big problem is finding people who want to promote it. I tell guys out there, if you're guys who are a fan of the sport and you feel like, hey, well, I'm not seeing this division here, reach out to these promoters. Say, I'm willing to help out, maybe put the prize money and the sanction fees. But the thing is, they have to make money back from it. You put in something, you got to get back out of it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's a way we can start a GoFundMe and then just dole it out.
That's the thing, GoFundMe. It's a hit or miss. Right now, I was hoping to try to go to another vitamin show. And I set up a GoFundMe. It's right there. It's in my ticket right there, my GoFundMe, my Cash App, like that, because I want to go to a bodybuilder show. I don't get a lot of money because I live on disability, and by the time I pay my bills and like that, and about broke, I got a car in the shop that I was thinking about getting out, but I said, you know what, the guy had for each of the year. I say fuck it and just save some money and just get myself a new car because it's easier just to get another one and maybe it'll last you a good while for this other one, because the other one I got was my sister. She gave it to me. It doesn't back up anymore. The door don't want to open. It's just
more problems.
Yeah, more problems that I had to keep fixing. So I just bit off. I wanted to go to the Atlanta Pro because my oldest niece, she stays up there. I go stay with her. And I can catch an Uber around there, save me cost of a hotel room and check out the show, because I want the opportunity to go out there. Savannah was my last show I went to, and that was back in 2022. But I want to go out there and meet y'all ladies and talk to y'all ladies and get the perspective and understand. As a content maker, I really want to, really expand myself and really get to know more, and it takes to travel, But like I said, again, it's just about right now I have to take care of some business first. And then once things get settled, I like to get the opportunity to do that.
We got to get you a sponsorship. We need to get you with one of these companies that's at one of the Olympia Expos or something, so that they can fly you out there and then you can go do all their interviews and stuff for them. We got to figure this out.
I don't know about flying. I'm like Mr. T from the 18. You got to put something in my milk or something, I don't know about flying. Hey, fool! I don't know about flying.
My auntie is like that. We'll take the bus with you. We'll take the bus or the train.
I'll take a train. I don't know if car drive be too long. I might do it. It's time for me. I'm like I said, it's time for me to get out of there. I need to try to, I get to the point where I start becoming an old man. I like to watch old westerns, and stuff like that. Like, thank you, Miss Ma'am. This is how I was raised. Your
inner 80-year-old is coming out, George.
Yeah, I'm an old country boy, ma'am. That's all. I can't help that. That's how I was raised, to get up with the chickens. My family was sharecroppers. That's true. We were sharecroppers. We worked. But yeah, I think as a fan, as anybody who loves the sport, we need more people to step up. I know a guy named Glenn. He runs his own magazine. We say one thing we need to do is he likes to help the sponsor athletes, and also we need people to put the opportunities for the competitors, be it you women's bodybuilding, be it men's bodybuilding. The guys this is how I say about the guys division is the bottom bitch. Excuse my language, ma'am. But it's the ones that always gets the attention, the money. But y'all ladies, y'all put in just as much work, just as much time. It's a different level compared to the man. Like when you're training, what's that exercise that you say, I love doing it today, and that one says, damn, I gotta do that shit.
Anything squats are my damn. And I think my favorite, it would probably be back. So like rowing, pulling, because it's a little bit of everything for my upper body. And it's what I train the most right now to get the volume in. But yeah, for me, anything squat related, being so tall, short people love squats. Tall people, not so much. It is not comfortable for me.
I've been watching this thing, which it was like, even though I don't like his politics when it comes down to where his bodybuilding, I'm a fan of his movies. I know the way he talked about years ago when he used to train with Franco Colombo, and Franco's really short, and Franco's like, and because I'm really tall, he has to do like front squats. He goes from the front because he's taller. And so again, with you taller competitors, it does take a lot more compared to, like, when I mentioned earlier, Michaela Aycock, who's like 4'11". She's short. You look at guys like Sean Carita, he's a short dude. Really those shorter competitors really put on some size in the lower half. And it's a lot
Mhm.
harder for the taller competitors, like, to put on the size and to work on it. You have to find the right workouts that work for you. And like, your coach, she understands that she has to work with something compared to her, like she's one of those competitors. Those girls are usually a lot shorter. And
She
she has to
is.
find a plan for you. Because sometimes I talk to ladies that sometimes they get a coach that gives them the same cookie cutter plan that they give to a male competitor. But men and women, even though we're the same species, we're just different,
Mhm.
um, genders. We're the same species but different genders. And what works for a man doesn't work for a woman. Especially you're a tall lady. I'm 5'7", so you dwarf me because I'm like I mean, I gotta look up to you and say, hey, but it's different factors.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the hormonal response to exercise, our hormone profiles in general are different. Our physiological capabilities are different. Men are just naturally stronger. You guys have more muscle mass than we do. There's a lot that goes on. I know, right? There's a lot that goes into that. And I mean, yes, you can train to get to the same level as a guy, but I mean, naturally, that's not where we're at. And then even just taller to shorter people of the same sex. I've had many coaches who try and hand me a plan and I do a little quick add up of the calories. And I'm like, this is like 1,200 calories, right? I'm 6 feet tall, right? Like my left leg needs 1,200 calories. Like, what are we doing here? You can't train me or feed me the way that you would somebody who's 8, 10, 12 inches shorter than me. So that's something that I've moved around coaches. I've had some great coaches that I've gone back to, but I have moved around coaches a lot because some of them just don't get that part. Or they try and do stuff that they do with other competitors. And I'm like, my first question is, why are we doing this? And if you don't have an answer for me as a science person, as somebody who literally writes textbooks about this stuff, and understands it to a T. I hired you because I just don't want to think about it today. That's why I do that. But if you don't have a reason for why we're doing something, or you can't tell me why this is going to help me in any way, I have questions.
Like the quote, like I said, I love movies, and one of my movie series I love is Batman Begins, the Chris Nolan's, where if you remember seeing it, there's a part where Kristen Bale is training with Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, and he says, "Be aware of surrounds at all time, Master Wayne. Never give up your footing for a killing blow." And you got to be aware of your surroundings when you're dealing in this sport. Aware of the people who understand the fact, especially with women hormones. With men, we have more natural testosterone than women, and we can build muscle faster. I mean, when I lost weight, it didn't take me too long. I dropped 40 pounds because once I started dieting, working out a little bit, it don't take long. But for y'all women, you do carry more you have higher BMI than most men because of the fact that you carry fat in your chest and your thighs and your hips, the areas where, because you are the ones who carry our children, your nurturers, I mean, that's where it's needed the most. But for us, man, we need the muscle because, like I said, we have the muscles. Oh, here, my man Kale, he's a hater. He says, he says, you don't got no muscles. They're there, they're there, they're there. What do you got? He's skinny. There you go. He says this. Says I do like your arms, Jamie. I
Thank
saw you.
you. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
working.
Yeah, you're working on it. So there's one. All these guys want to see is a little flex. They're not gonna get that. Watch, if you want to see a flex, go to her social media platforms. Support her. I know you. I know. One of my crimes, Jenny. I have to create. I mean, my crime is I must have her smile. I know y'all ladies are psychic. Something about you. It's just something beautiful. Like one thing is, for us people who are outside, especially who are fans, we love to see y'all ladies when you're developing, building your muscles. We love to see you on stage, like your physiques and your bodies. There's an old smoke saying, Jenny, and when your ladies rock hard, we'll rock hard. But you know what? We admire your hard work and your consistency and your discipline. And you know what? Like I said, again, most people would want to do this because
Mhm.
there's so much to it that's involved in it: the work, the training, the dieting. And if anybody else would understand what you're going through, is you. Because you know what, if you're on stage competing with somebody else, you're not competing with somebody else, you're competing against yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it ends up being, you versus you, making yourself better. But yeah, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and it's very consistent is the key, to stay as consistent as you can. And we are a product of what we do consistently. So I appreciate the support from people like yourselves and the people that watch your channel and support the shows and support the women's divisions, because it is something that we do because we love it. And it's nice to know that other people love it too. and can benefit and get some joy out of it. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to end up in the same place, and it's not here. So
here's my brother. He's not too bright on something. He says this. He says, "You're 6 feet. Could you dunk basketball? No. Could you?"
Maybe I can touch almost 10 feet still. And I know a basketball hoop is somewhere around there, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not big on basketball, so.
I'm a man's brother. A woman 6 feet is not the same as a man at 6 feet.
Correct.
Guys, there's a big biological difference. If you go like Nate Robinson, he was 6 feet tall. He was dunking on guys. Guys like Spud Webb, he was barely 5. He was like 5'7". It's a big difference. It's about energy, push, power that what men have over women. That's why there's a debate about WNBA versus NBA. I don't want to hear one of them.
It's very different.
Also, he says that perv is coming out. Well, also another guy's coming out. He's just excited about talking to you ladies because y'all think like this is his saying. He says, "You know what, Chitty, you are beautiful." Because again, there are people who are fans of it who enjoy watching, not just women, also men. We just seen how the body's developing, growing. I know your mother. I don't know. She say, "Baby, I don't know if I can watch you," but it's good that she comes to your shows. And your dad did what you did, because I know I've talked to ladies who told me that the family friends don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand all about the sport. Sometimes even I remember some ladies who I talked to that they even got divorced because they got into bodybuilding because they were changing themselves. And men, we don't like change too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And like it can be hard for other people to absorb, but again, it doesn't impact you. And I mean, if you don't want to look at it, don't look at it, right? But it doesn't impact you, what we're doing. It doesn't impact anybody else. But I always laugh because there's some people who are like, "Oh, that's gross. Oh, you look so masculine. Oh, blah, blah." And then they meet you in person, and then all of a sudden they're like, walking around like little dogs humping the air. And I'm like, "Yeah, you like it better than you thought, huh? It looks nicer than you thought, huh? It's kind of feminine, huh? Right? It's a shape you've never seen before. Ooh, you like that, like, right?" And I'm not like trying to entice anybody. I'm married, but like you'd be surprised how many people, and of course I've been in person, I've been at a lot of these expos working in certification and higher education for a long time, where I mean, sometimes I get people who just walk up and touch me and I'm like, first of all, we don't do that. But like you can acknowledge it and you can appreciate it. But a lot of people, like when you see it in person and you see the work that goes into it, which is why I appreciate that you want to get to some shows in person, because it's a very different experience than seeing the videos or just looking at pictures. So if that's all you're using to judge the sport or the people that are in it, both sides of it, I'd argue that you need to go to a show and see it, because it is very different. And people look very different in person than they do on stage, which is pretty cool.
I remember when I went to Savannah, and I remember Andrea was there. She was doing guest posing, her and Mona personally on stage together. It was like, I think it was maybe about 4 weeks out from the Rise of Phoenix that year. And it was just amazing to see her. She wasn't even in her top level. My man Keith said, "George, when Andrea's on, she's on." She was all flashier, but when she's on, she's on. It was a great opportunity to see some of these ladies and even some of the guys that watched the men's classic that year. And it was just something different when you see it live in person compared to when you watch it on the live stream. Because I watched Triple O live stream. It was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. Also watched the Vancouver Owl that was this past weekend. But that's why I said I would love to go and check these things out and just meet some people, because I have people say, "Hey, George, come to my shows." I say, "Well, if I can, I could. I would love to." I was hoping to do it this year, but like I said, situations happen. Here, my man K, he's just a clown. He says it was a joke, but Lisa Leslie could dunk. That's Lisa Leslie. That's a different animal completely, brother.
I will say that I played basketball like once or twice in my life, and there's a reason I don't play basketball.
Yeah, you play volleyball. Yeah, no for you. He also said this is all they need to do is lower the rim for women to dunk. They've been telling them for years. Well, the thing is, they don't want that. They want to be able to, not too much of it. They still want to be more competitive. They want to be more excited. But that, I know if you bring in dunk into something like the WNBA, it may bring some attention, especially excited. But we maybe need some women who might want to step up and do that. But it's going to take time, because women and men are different. It's a big difference. So, folks, we're not going to hold it too much longer, because we know she's a busy lady. She just, took some time here and sit here and talk with me. And I appreciate the opportunity when I get to talk to anybody who get into the sport. Because like I said, this is what my content is about, to give y'all ladies recognition. Yes, I know my other crime, I admit it. It's just something about it. But people need to understand, when you go to these shows and you see these competitors on stage, and you see them, they are on stage. They're like have their tan, they're shiny. You look like a knight with shining armor. But you got to understand the process of them to get there, the recovery, the rest, the training, the water loading, the water, dehydration, the getting hangry, the, that I heard that we do spray tan. That's cold as shit. I mean, all that's involved with that. But when we see what we see, it's just something different and beautiful. And yes, there are people out there, the guys out there who like saying, "You're too manly. I don't like that." Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when they say, "Well, no one's looking at it," I think you're cute, Jeannie. I like your body. You're very exciting. Because you know what society tells people that this is something different. You shouldn't like it. But like I said, I've been a fan for a long time. I admire you, ladies. I respect you, ladies. Yes, I do have my privileges about y'all, but this is where doing this content, I get to learn something and understand what it is. Here he goes. He's a hater, my man, brother, and he says it's corny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever. Yo. But the anyway thing is, what would you? This is a question I asked you, ladies. What would you want out of bodybuilding for yourself as a whole?
I want this sport to continue to grow and to help me continue to grow. Because when we stop using our bodies, it starts to degrade, right? I call this our shell. You only get one shell, and what you do with it is your choice. So for me, it's something, like I said before, it's a challenge. It's something that keeps me healthy. It keeps me active. It keeps me motivated. It keeps me focused. It keeps me going, keeps me healthy. Whether or not people think that this is healthy, you'd be surprised, because I'm actually kind of a flexible dieter, because I know how this stuff works. It doesn't have to be so dogmatic, and there's ways to do this in a way that's not going to harm you long-term or short-term. So if you have somebody telling you to do something that seems extreme, like, I would question it. But bodybuilding, I want it to continue to keep me going. Because I would love to be doing this well into my 60s and 70s and still playing volleyball and doing all these things. Because, I mean, you only get so much time here. So hopefully you're making a valuable choice with what you do with your body and your time and what you do. And so I love what you do, and I appreciate it again. But you're making an impact. You're making an impact. There's a lot of people sitting at home who just want to talk about people behind a keyboard, right? You're not making an impact. Nobody's going to remember you when you're gone.
Here's the thing. To quote my man, my favorite comedian, Bernie Mac. Boy, if people don't like you, fuck them. That thing is, you got to live for you. You can't live for nobody else. Absolutely. And if people like my content and things I talk about, I have people make comments like, so that I post some guys like, is that a dude? Is that no, this is a lovely lady. This is somebody's wife, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's cousin, somebody's daughter. As I said again, you as a person should be able to open your mind. I know people are kind of stuck in their own idea of what is in their world. Yeah. And it's hard to get people to get out of that. Sometimes you gotta get out of your own way. But once you open yourself to it, and you, like I said, doing this content, because I was doing this because I was thinking of my mom, and I needed something to deal with her stuff and my stuff. And this was just, I was making little videos here and there. And then when she was gone, I said, reach out, let me do some interviews. And started talking with some ladies. My first was not perfect. I was kind of excited, a little tongue-tied. But because it's a process, just like bodybuilding, I get to learn, I get to adapt, I get to understand. Some things that I didn't know before, I learned from these interviews. People are telling me, also the friendships I gained. Like my man KL says, what do you learn? Well, this is something I learned. What you learn is different. And I can't tell you what I learned. You have to learn for yourself. It's easy for me to tell you what I think, but to learn is something you have to do on your own. You have to be able to be open-minded, be adaptable, and be understanding, and be willing. But this is not a sport that everybody says is not going to understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you're saying all this, because relatedness is one of the basic human needs. We all need to feel related and connected to other people. And if you find a group of people that are doing something, or they're in your camp, right? If this is your tribe, as they like to say, then that's your people. And you don't have to be right for everybody. I'm not perfect for everybody. There's, when I teach and do all the things that I do, I have a very big personality. When I'm awake, when I'm asleep, it's different, right? But when my feet hit the floor, the devil said, oh shit, she's up. And it's just, I'm not for everybody. There's plenty of people who are like, oh, she's a mess. I don't like being around her. Cool. Bye. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Right. So you have to check up the deuces and move on, because I'm not going to change myself to make you feel comfortable or to make you feel some kind of way. Like, excuse me?
That's how I feel about my content. I know I may not be a best cup of tea, but if I water myself down too much, sometimes I would choose my words wisely because But if I water myself down too much, I won't be the person who I am now.
Yeah.
Just convening you. I mean, I've reached out to some ladies, say, hey, I may not be interested, but the ones who do want to do interviews like yourself, I enjoy that. Sometimes I do my podcast. Say, hey, ladies, come on, let's talk about this. When you want to talk about this, I get I can get frustrated. I remember this wrestler I used to remember back in the day. His name was Captain the Redneck Dick Murdoch. He used to say, well, all you acting like a bunch of yellow belly egg sucking dogs. But the thing is, I understand you want to protect yourself and your mind. You don't want to feel, too people invading on your life. But again, if you don't work for yourself, if you don't toot your own horn, no one's going to listen. No one's going to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, your story might change somebody's life. Who knows, right? You might say one thing that you thought was in passing and nobody paid attention to it, but that might be the thing that changes somebody's trajectory. So you never know. If you don't share your story, you're just keeping it for yourself. I feel like that's kind of selfish. So again, I love that you're out here and you're expanding yourself and meeting all these people and learning about their stories and just spreading more information. And it's information from the source, right? Not information from people who are making assumptions. And then those are usually the squeakiest wheels, which are often the loudest. So you're getting information from people who are actually doing this out there. And that's the important stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to get it from the people who live it, who learn it, who understand it. It's easy to get, someone who say like secondhand, I know this. Well, here's the thing. You may not know jack shit. You're just saying off gas.
You know what people want you to know.
Yeah. You want to be aware of what you get involved with. But here's the thing is people out there who are interested in these ladies who want to support them. And I know you guys are out there, but I know you guys out there who do your type of sports like, hey, Jenny, you're a tall drink of water. If I do a favor for you, no. This is what we say, Mrs. Liebl. We are very interested in you and your story about how you got into bodybuilding. We are a company. We like to sponsor athletes. So if our product works with your process as a bodybuilder or just in general in your life, we have a plan for you. But we have to understand that we are both committed in this partnership. If you're not comfortable, that's cool. We understand that. But again, we want to see you grow as an athlete. So, madam, if you're ever interested in being part of our company and, being promoted or being an ambassador, let us know. And we're happy to help you on your way.
Yep, that's amazing. And that's kind of the way you approached me. Like, hey, this is what I do. I would love to have you on and share your story. Check out my page. Like, you aren't pushy or anything. It doesn't need to be all that. Right. And nobody's obligated to do anything for you. They do it because they want to. And I loved your approach. I appreciated you giving me time to take a look at your page because I was super busy last week. But I mean, you were never like forceful about it. And so I'm super excited to be here.
Well, one of my jobs, I used to work with women a lot. I grew up with 3 older sisters and my mother. I worked in textiles with women. I worked in a strip club with women. I had to learn, especially in a strip club, I had to learn that there's ways to, especially how to talk to women. You get more, as I said, you get more with a silk glove than an iron fist. And I know what you guys do in that iron fist. You get better results if you know. And sometimes I reach out to say, hey, I might reach out, hey, you still interested? And if you're not, I'm going to move on. There are plenty of fishes to shoot. There's people, I got an interview tomorrow. This young lady, she's an NBA fighter. Got an interview with a lady who I said for her name is Big Jane. She's coming up this Sunday. I got also interviewed with one lady that competed with. Her name is Sarah. And, she's Monday. And I do my podcast on Monday. And I'm trying to, I try to be active because this is something that keeps me busy. Like I said again, my woman is gone. My mom was my woman. And this is something that keeps me busy, keeps my mindset busy. And I love getting contact with people like this. I mean, talking, maybe someday, God willing, I get to go to a show, meet some y'all in person. I might go like Sophia in Color Purple. I saw you. And I spent that jail sitting to rot. I knew I saw you. I knew there was a God. But I might do that to Andrea. I might do that to her.
Oh my goodness.
Andrea, I know. I hope she'll. So again, I don't hope you don't think I'm going to talk about it. I just think you're beautiful. You're an amazing lady. You really changed the sport. I'm a fan to all these ladies, but there's particular ones that really, I'm excited about. And I've interviewed quite a few ladies who knew her and talk about how well she is. And I know you got to meet her. And it was a great experience to be with people like Sydney and and Whitney and Andrea and I know Whitney Jones, Whitney Fortino, who won the show last year.
Yeah.
Just amazing crop of women at that show. Just saw interview with Chelsea Dion. She was there. Gabby Vega, she's a friend of mine. Just amazing ladies who represent their divisions. And
what's Gabby getting ready for, by the way?
Well, I don't know. She did Vancouver. We were talking, she might just wait and chill out and do the Masters Olympia coming. This all depends. I'm not certain just yet. She might try to do, because I think there's a lot of bodies headed from New York, because you feel like if they give enough women's body from New York, they don't want Steve Weinberger to drop it, because it just took a long time. If we get at least 8 or more bodies for that show, that'd be great. Because women's body losing shows. Even y'all losing little shows here and there, but still you got a lot more compared to some of the others. But there's
some big ones coming up in the next couple of weeks here.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Pro. I was hoping to add women's body this year, but whatever, man. I'm not a big fan of the mains, whatever. But anyway, folks, we're not going to hold much too longer. We do appreciate your time and wish you best of luck. So, you have anybody you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Just a shout out to everybody who supports the sport. Go out there and live your best life, you guys. So keep it on moving. Do what makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. So, folks, if you want to follow Jenny, her links in the description of this live stream. Reach out with genuine interest, guys. Don't be that guy. I know who you are. I'm one of you. I'm a criminal. I'm a superior smell. And again, before we let you go, Jenny, he has to say something. And Jenny, I'd like to thank you for your time. And again, I like always say this to you. You are beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry about him. I tried. I'm seeing a specialist, and
I'm seeing a specialist.
I mean, but he completes me, so I can't let him go completely. But we're gonna merge one of these days. So, folks, I'd like to thank my brother KL the Wonder coming through. My brother Underway Darkness, Ryan Lake for coming through. Anybody who watched this, follow, subscribe me on my social media platform. Also, saying to Jenny, support her upcoming show. She'll be doing the Emerald in Washington. That is, I think, next month.
Next weekend.
Next weekend. I think it's the same weekend as the. No, I don't think there's no shows next weekend. I think
there might be one or two other ones, but Pittsburgh is the next week, and then
next week after that. Yeah. Well, like I said, one thing I would do if they post the pictures, I will send it to you, because sometimes, I know some of you ladies have to buy the show pictures, but sometimes you might want to. The shout out to I interviewed the girlfriend of the guy who did the pictures for the Triple O. Nice pictures. Not enough of them. Usually you want more.
Yeah, I noticed that too. There wasn't a ton of them. Unless you paid for them, then you had people got a ton of them. But I think that's how they started to differentiate, because nobody buys the pictures anymore. So I think that's how they're getting them now. They only post a couple, and then if you buy them, you get 150.
Well, unlike the crew, I'll show you a bunch of pictures for that show, but they don't have figure. Maybe Corey, he's a promoter. Maybe next year he'll have it. I don't know. But it's still a growing show. But anyway, folks, if y'all want to follow her and support her path, you want to watch the show, or just show interest in these ladies, men and women, in the sport of bodybuilding, because it's a tough sport. Like Roddy Coleman says, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but no one lifts heavy ass weight.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, ma'am, thank you, and I appreciate your time giving me. It was a pleasure. Thank you to my guests who are here in support these women and men. I said again, even though I'm more a fan of you ladies, it may not be the 80s, but I'm down with the ladies. So, hey, folks, thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of this weekend. And this is your man, always George Page, a.k.a. the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't subscribe. I am out. Good evening, good night, good luck, and God bless.